Don Garlitts, a very warm welcome to the Easter Thunderball at Santa Pod. Can you tell us a little bit about your early life? How did you get into drag racing in the first place?
Well, I liked all kinds of racing, and there wasn't any really drag racing when I got started. It was mostly just round track racing. So me and my buddies built a round track car, and he was a pretty good engine guy and driver. I was just kind of the body and paint guy, so I had it all painted up real pretty and lettered, and we went out there, and he was leading one of the early races, and they could see he was going to be a problem. So one of the older guys just nerfed him and knocked him over the wall, and that was the end of him for the night. And it really got to me. I said, this is terrible. I said, the guy, we work all that hard, we come out here, we race, and somebody just knocks you over the wall to get rid of you because you're too fast. About that same time, they was putting together a drag racing program up in Zephyr Hills, which was not anything like today. It was just a bunch of guys went up there, raced side by side on an old abandoned runway. There weren't any trophies, there weren't any clocks, but we all raced. We had a real good time. Everybody was a gentleman. They stayed in their lane. Nobody bumped into anybody. And I said to myself, this is what I like. Drag racing is for me.
Well, where did the name Big Daddy come from then?
NHRA announcer gave that to me at the Nationals in 1962. I showed up with a Gaius car. NHRA was Gaius for several years, and so it was actually just a sportsman-type racing. But I was working for Chrysler, and they wanted me to build one of the new wedge engines and go to compete at the Nationals, and I went over there, and I wasn't doing real well, and I had my two little toddlers with me and my wife, and they were calling me Daddy Garlitts because they were all just kids, sportsmen racing. And, the pros, the 30-year-old guys were running nitromethane because when NHRA being nitro, we didn't quit running it. We just kept burning it. We didn't care. There was lots of associations that ran nitro. So anyway, they were making fun of me, Big Daddy, or not Big Daddy, they were just calling me Daddy.
Right.
And then I got my car sorted out, and I set to work the record, 180.36. I took it away from Tommy Ivo, and that went out on the AP. And the announcer says, well, we're going to have to call him Big Daddy from now on. He's just set the world record, and that's how the AP story carried it. And it's been there ever since. In '69, we registered the name.
I tell you what, in the early days, though, Don, there was a lot of rivalry between East Coast, West Coast, wasn't there? And the name Swamp Rat that you applied to your cars, was that initially applied to you rather than the car?
Yes, it was. That was thrown at me as a slur. And a friend of mine that was helping me out at the time he was thinking about producing a small movie in the area. It was 1960. And they put that in Drag News. There was no National Dragster to speak of. And it said, it's no wonder they call you the Swamp Rat. You're in this sport for what you can get. And I got mad about it. And the guy said, let's draw a mouse. Let's draw a Swamp Rat. So he drew that little mouse with the flag, which I'm sure you've seen.
Yeah, sure.
And we registered that, and that's Swampy. Been there ever since. And then we had a Swampy doll we made, and like a little toy. And the guy that actually put the ad in later in life, we've become real good friends, and we sent a whole case of them to him, and he just buried himself in them, and they took his picture, and we got one of my books here.
Can I move us forward a little bit to the actual event that we're celebrating at the Santa Pod Easter Thunderball this year, 1976, because you got beaten by a British guy called Peter Crane, who will be here at the Easter Thunderball with us. He ran the first 5-second pass outside of America. What were your thoughts at that time?
Well, I apologize for the poor performance of my car at that meeting, but if you care to remember, I had a bad magneto. It evidently had gotten moisture in it on the trip over, and the car just would not run on 8 cylinders. There was no way that you could run one of these cars unless you got 8 cylinders running.
Yeah. And
Peter Crane was running good that day, and he did set the record. But then I came back and set the British land speed record there with the same car with a decent mag. I'm in a 231, if I remember correctly, which was the fastest anybody's been on the land in the British Isles.
I'm sure you're absolutely right. Peter's here with us today. Would you like to just say a hello to him?
And we wish you well, and a big congratulations to Peter Crane. It was a great run back there in 1976, no question about it. And we wish you all the best for your reunion. I'm sure it will be very successful. The English just love car racing. Every time I've been over there, I've received one of the warmest welcomes any track in the whole world.
Thank you very, very much indeed. That's absolutely lovely. On behalf of Santa Pod Raceway, many thanks for this interview.